Local attorney Royal Alexander is here. Hey, Mr. Royal, welcome back to Keel. How you been?
Doing great, Robert. Good to be with y'all.
Our pleasure as always. Okay, so President Trump is starting to say, hey, maybe it's time that the American economy get back up and going, that Americans go back to work. But there's a lot of governors that are saying, oh, hold on. Governor John Bel Edwards among them. Let's start here. Is there a constitutional fight in the offing?
Robert, what you said a minute ago, that a clash is coming, is correct. And it's fascinating because, again, what we're talking about is our Constitution, which is supposed to govern all of our actions. And here, even though I certainly support President Trump, he does have great authority over federal installations, for example, in Louisiana, like Barksdale Air Force Base, like Fort Polk, like, say, the VA, the Social Security, all federal installations in Louisiana he has authority over. But he cannot commandeer the states. That is a straight-up U.S. Supreme Court holding. The federal government cannot commandeer the states, Robert. They can hang financial incentives in front of the states to say, for example, Louisiana, if you raise your drinking age to 21, we'll give you $100 million for your roads in your state. But Louisiana still has a choice, Robert. It can say, we don't want the $100 million because we don't want to raise our drinking age.
How's about the Commerce Clause? Do you think that could be applied here from the federal level?
I do. It usually is in place, but when it comes to things, again, we're talking about the 10th Amendment, which I strongly believe in. And again, it says those rights not specifically expressly reserved to the federal government are reserved to the states and the people. And that's what we're talking about here. And I'm proud that states' rights is being debated across the whole country. Governor Edwards, John Bel Edwards, really is the one with the authority to say, for example, Strawn's in Shreveport, you can open again, all our businesses, because it has a great power. It's called the state police powers, and part of that is including what we have as just Louisiana entities. It's straight up a federalism issue, Robert. And President Trump, any president, has great authority, but the decision, for example, to open the Superdome again is going to be the governor's, and that's true no matter who the president was and no matter which state we were talking about. So you cannot commandeer a state. No president, this one or any, can tell Louisiana, except those federal areas I mentioned, can tell Louisiana as a whole, you need to do something. Now, there's federal statutes.
Royal, what if it happens in the reverse? What if the president says, y'all go ahead and open up, and our governor is saying, no, you can't, but I'm Strawn's. The president said I can open up. I'm going to open up. What happens then?
I've got to tell you, Aaron, I think, again, a lot of this is going to get resolved in lawsuits, but I think Strawn's is going to have to say, well, I'm violating my state governor's order. And people would say, well, federal is always stronger than state, but there's got to be a constitutional basis for the exercise of power. Here, this is not an area that interstate commerce reaches. Here, this is what conservatives always say, Aaron, to be truthful to what our arguments are. Conservatives are always saying, I'm sick of the federal government being in my life. Here is a classic example of our governor is saying, I may follow generally what the president says, but ultimately, if Strawn's does that, Aaron, I think it can be fine.
But on the other hand, let us look at it from the point of vox populi, public opinion. If President Trump says, America, let's get back to work. If over in Texas, Greg Abbott says, we're going back to work. If a whole bunch of governors in states surrounding Louisiana say, let's go back to work, is John Bel really willing to buck the will of if people in Louisiana look around and see everybody's economy getting back up and going, what do you think the governor is going to do in that situation? Do you think he would go against that kind of popular opinion?
No, the answer is I don't think he would, but he could. And again, we're talking about straight up what constitutional authority he has, not the focus on politics. I think politically he's a Southern governor, Robert, and your point's well taken. I think he's going to do what the Texas governor does, but he doesn't have to, is my point.
Okay, then the issue for me is, what about the medical concerns? I mean, are they not listening to the same people, and are those people not giving them the same advice?
I think they are, but let's look at it across the country. The South is generally conservative. The North, a bunch of those states that are clumping together, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, all that group, they have far more liberal governors who probably may make a different decision than we would. Some states are going to err on the side of it's just purely a policy determination which our founders set up for the states to make. Here, the governor Cuomo may say, you know what, I hear what the president's saying, or the governor of New Jersey may say, I hear what the president's saying, but we in this state value the health of our citizens more than we do getting our economy going again. So at least in my state of New Jersey, we're going to keep people at home for longer. And in Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards may say, this is a very red state. These people want to go to work. They love the Second Amendment. They love their freedom. They're individualistic. We're going to work much quicker. But keep in mind, every governor's got a way. If this thing somehow, and again, I'm just playing the devil's advocate, were to spike back up because we wanted to go to work so quickly, that's going to be a problem too. So none of this is easily resolved, I think. And again, but these clashes between the federal and state government are what our framers envisioned. They're supposed to be, and the federal government is really supposed to be deferring to the states on these kind of issues because of the 10th Amendment.
If President Trump says in the next few days, let's aim for May 1st, let's reopen the American economy. Let's get back to work, America. And Governor Edwards theoretically said, no, I think we should stay safe at home, stay at home in place for another 30 days. What would be the process of the court cases at that point? Who would sue who, and how long would that take? I mean, doesn't the judicial system move so slowly that it would all be resolved on the ground by the time a decision was made by a judge somewhere?
Yes, the judicial system does move slowly. Robert, there was a judge in Virginia the other day who ruled very quickly that, I hate to bash Virginia if I have the state wrong. It was some kind of state near, maybe it was Virginia, a state near Virginia, but of the federal judge, it was on an injunction, and those injunctions, those TROs, move quickly. And he ruled that not only is it unconstitutional, it is unprecedented for a governor of a state, it was a mayor to tell the constituents of that city that they can't go worship in person on Easter Sunday. So he said, it's unconstitutional. There's no basis for it. Now, that is a straight up constitutional right there. The 10th Amendment is also a constitutional power. And what I'm saying is, there'll be people who argue heatedly on both sides of this. But what I'm saying is, Governor Edwards, let's have a hypothetical. He doesn't intend to run for anything again. He's term limited now, and he just wanted to kind of tell President Trump, no, you're not telling me what to do. Again, this is a hypothetical. I'm going to keep my state closed for as long as I want to. If he did that, I think people would protest, but if they were fined, they could be forced to pay because we're under state law right now. An executive order, when it comes from a lawful source, which it does in one of our state statutes, is law.
Last quick question, Royal. At the end of the day, when all this is settled, do you think the people of each state, no matter what the Fed says, no matter what their individual states' governors say, do you think the people are going to get what they want?
I do, Robert. I've heard on Fox and other news sources today that people in different states like North Carolina are already planning protests at their state capital to demand that their governor goes ahead and lifts the restriction. And that is the way it is supposed to work. That's the way our founders set it up. And I think this is a hard time, but it's very interesting to watch this from a legal standpoint.